Hi, welcome to Raising Communicators. I'm so glad you're here. If you're watching this, you already have done something that most parents in your situation never get to do. You found a place that was built specifically for you, not for the general public, not for people who are just curious about speech therapy, for you, the parent, the grandparent, the educator, the person who is right in the middle of this and needs real information from someone who actually knows. So before we get into anything else, I want to say that directly. This community was built for you. You are not behind, you are not too late, you are not too early. You are exactly where you need to be. My name is Alyssa Conger, and I'm a licensed speech language pathologist. I want to spend the next few minutes making sure you know exactly what you have access to here and how to use it. I want to start by naming something because I think a lot of parents who find their way into a community like this have been carrying something around for a while, and nobody has quite put it into words for them. Maybe you left your child's evaluation appointment with a report you did not fully understand, a diagnosis that had a name but no real explanation attached to it, and about 20 minutes to absorb all of it before the next family was scheduled and you went home. Maybe you have been sitting in IEP meetings, nodding along to language that you misunderstood about half of, leaving with goals written on paper that you are not entirely sure how to support at home. Maybe you've been trying to do home practice because the therapist said it was important and you're doing your best, but you're genuinely not sure if you're doing it right or if it's even helping. Maybe you've just been Googling at midnight, reading contradictory things or 10 different websites, none of which were written by someone who has actually sat across from a family like yours. If any of this sounds familiar, you're in the right place because everything in this course was built in response to exactly what you just heard, the gap between what families are told and what they actually need to know. That gap is what we are going to close together. When people ask me as an SLP, the one thing I wish parents knew about speech therapy, this is what I tell them. We need you, not in a polite theoretical way. Clinically, practically, we need you in the work. Your child's speech language pathologist sees them for, if you're lucky, 1 to 2 hours a week. The other 166 hours of that week, they are with you at the dinner table, in the car, at bedtime, when they're in the bathtub or at the playground. That is where language actually lives, and that is where communication actually happens. And the research on this is not subtle. Children whose parents who are informed what they are working on in therapy and who carry that into their daily life in intentional ways make progress 2 to 3 times faster than children whose home environment is disconnected from their therapy. 2 to 3 times. That is the most powerful variable in therapy outcomes, not the frequency of sessions, not the therapy approach, the informed, engaged parent. The problem is that no one teaches parents how to do that. No one sits down and explains how therapy actually works, what the goals mean, what you can do at meal times or during a walk to the park that actually matters. That has always been the gap, and this course is designed to close it. Before we go any further, I want to be very clear about something because I think honesty here is more important than anything else I could say in this video. This course is not a replacement for speech therapy. I'm going to say that again because it really matters. This course is not a replacement for speech therapy. If your child needs speech therapy, they need a licensed speech language pathologist, a real clinician working with them directly using evidence-based approaches tailored to their specific profile. Nothing in this course changes that. Nothing in this course is designed to change that. What this course will give you is an understanding. It gives you context, the ability to look at your child's report and know exactly what it means, the ability to sit in an IEP meeting and follow the conversation, the ability to ask better questions, the right questions, and understand the answers that you get back. Which brings me to something else I wanted to name directly. When you finish this course, you will know more than most parents know about speech and language development, but you will not be an SLP. You will not have my clinical training, my graduate level education, my years of supervised practice, or my licensure. And that's completely fine because that's not what you need to be. What you need to be is an informed, empowered parent who can work alongside your child's therapist as a genuine partner, not a second therapist, a partner. And that's a very different thing. Something I want you to hold on to through this course. The information you will learn here is designed to build a bridge between you and your child's SLP, not to put you in the therapist seat. Your child's therapist is an expert on clinical intervention. You are the expert on your child. And when those two things work together, when a parent is informed and a therapist is supported by an engaged family, that is when children make the most progress. That is actually the whole point. You may finish certain lessons and want to talk to your child's therapist about something you learned. Wonderful. I hope you do. Throughout this course, I will offer you specific questions you can bring to your child's SLP. Questions that will help you understand what they are working on, how you can support it, what progress looks like. Those questions are there to open doors, not to direct your therapist treatment. One more thing I want to be transparent about because it matters professionally and ethically. The information I provide in this course is general educational information. I cannot give you specific therapy advice for your individual child. I have not evaluated your child. I do not know the full clinical picture, and I am not your child's treating clinician. Everything you learn here should be understood as general information, the kind that helps you be a better informed parent and a better partner to your child's SLP. For advice specific to your child's situation, that conversation always belongs with the clinician who knows them. Here is what I believe and what this entire course is built on. The best outcomes in speech and language therapy happen when three things are in place: a skilled clinician, an appropriate intervention, and an informed, engaged family. The research is consistent and clear on this. All three matter. And of the three, the one that has the most room to grow and the most immediate impact is the family. That is not a criticism of families. That is a systems problem. Families have not been given the information they need to play the role they are capable of playing. And when they get that information, when a parent understands what their child is working on and why, and knows how to weave that into the fabric of their daily life, the whole system works better. The therapist's work goes further, the child makes more progress, and the parent feels less like a bystander and more like they are actually a part of what's happening. That is the goal here. Not therapy, partnership, teamwork. You, informed and equipped, working alongside the professionals who are serving your child. Let me show you what you have access to in Raising Communicators. I want to go through this in some detail because there is a lot here, and I want you to be able to find what you need. Every member of Raising Communicators starts in the foundation track. It does not matter whether your child is 2 or 12. It does not matter what their diagnosis is or whether they have one. Foundation track is where everyone begins because it gives you the vocabulary and the framework for everything else. Module F1 is understanding diagnoses. That is where you'll learn how to actually read your child's evaluation report, not just the summary, but the scores, the percentile ranks, what a standard score means, and what it does not. We walk through the most common speech and language diagnoses in plain language. By the end of this module, you'll be able to look at your child's report and understand it. Module F2 is how speech therapy works. This is the one that parents tell me they wish they had seen before their child ever walked into a therapy room. What actually happens in a session? Why it looks like playing, and why that is exactly the point. How goals are written, and what they mean. And specifically, how to practice at home in ways that actually make a difference without adding anything to your already full schedule. Module F3, and this one is different from everything else in the course because it's not about your child, it is about you. The grief that nobody names, the guilt that most parents carry silently, the isolation, the burnout, even though it might look like everything is all right on the outside, right? And this is what it looks like to move from surviving this to building something sustainable. This module is for you. The behavior module is one of the most important things in the course and one of the most overlooked connections in early childhood. Behavior and communication are not two separate problems. They are deeply connected. When a child cannot reliably communicate what they need or what they want or what is overwhelming to them, behavior often becomes their language. This module teaches you to read that language, and it gives you strategies that work with both systems at the same time. For families with younger children, the early intervention track is built specifically for you. We cover language stimulation for toddlers, the 6 core strategies that every parent can use in the routines they already have. We have a full module on late talkers, what the research actually says, when to be concerned, and when it helps and when it does not. We cover AAC, augmentative and alternative communication, including what the research says about these devices and apps and the myths that get in the way of families accessing it. And we have a module on feeding and communication, which is the connection that often gets missed until it has become a significant challenge. For school-age families, the school-age track covers the things parents tell me they need the most and had the least of. IEP and 504 advocacy, your rights under federal law, how to read and evaluate goals, how to prepare for a meeting, and how to be a powerful and informed voice in that room without being adversarial. A module on literacy and language because the connection between speech language development and reading is one of the strongest in the research and one of the least understood by families. A module on social communication, what it looks like, what helps, and how to support it across settings. And a dedicated module on stuttering and fluency, which is one of the most misunderstood areas in our field. I know that's a lot. It's designed to be comprehensive because families deserve comprehensive. You will not do it all at once. You will start where your child is right now, and you will go where your family needs to go. The course is here whenever you are ready for the next thing. I want to take a moment to orient you to this community because raising communicators lives inside something bigger, the Lifeline community on Skool, and I want you to know how to find your way around. The classroom is where all the course content lives. The modules, the lessons, the handouts, the downloadable resources, that is where you will spend most of your time. Start in the foundation track, module F1, lesson 1. Everything is labeled and in order. The community feed is where you connect with other members, ask questions, share what you're learning, celebrate wins, because progress in this work deserves to be celebrated. Ask for support on the hard days, because there are hard days, as we all know. And the people in here understand that in a way that most people in your life may not. I want to say something directly about the community. Please ask your questions, not just in private messages to me, although that is available, but Asking questions in the community that you're afraid to ask is most certainly the same question that 15 other parents are also afraid to ask. And when someone answers it in the feed, then everyone benefits. A note on what I can offer to the community. I'm here to provide general information, education, and support. I'm not able to evaluate your child through a community post or provide specific clinical advice for your individual situation. That would require an actual clinical relationship, which I encourage you to have with your child's own SLP. But I can give you information, I can give you context, I can give you better questions to ask and to take to your appointment. And that is genuinely powerful. I want to close with something that I mean very genuinely. The fact that you're here, that you sought this out, that you joined, that you pressed play on this video matters more than you might realize right now. Not because it is impressive, because it is proof of something about who you are as a parent. You are the kind of parent who shows up, who asks questions, who does not accept "I don't know" as a destination, who keeps looking for the thing that will help their child even when they are exhausted. That is exactly the kind of parent that every piece of research in our field points to as the most important variable in their child's outcomes, not the diagnosis, not the severity, not the frequency of therapy. The parent who is informed and engaged and refuses to be a bystander in their child's care. You are that parent, and you have already proven that by being here. Welcome to Raising Communicators. I'm really glad you found this. Now let's get to work.